Hi everyone, I'm Sid, and my expertise is in industrial engineering and managerial analytics.
I'm Juliana, and my background is in social policy and public health.
Today, we will share a brief tutorial on how to design a successful health intervention.
I'd like to start off with a few key concepts in social policy and public health: cultural humility, asset-based community development, and social determinants of health. These ideas will inform how we work with a community to develop a health intervention. Cultural humility is the practice of self-reflection and self-critique to recognize our own beliefs and assumptions and to understand how to be responsive and sensitive to another's culture. This enables public health officials to acknowledge that notions of health and disease, as well as perceptions and implementations of interventions, differ across cultures. Asset-based community development is a strategy for sustainable community-driven development. It reveals and builds upon assets, such as individuals, associations, institutions, physical assets, and social connections that already exist in the community. Social determinants of health are the conditions in which people are born, grow, live, work, and age that impact health outcomes. They include socioeconomic status, educational attainment, neighborhood and physical environment, employment, and social support networks, as well as access to health care. When creating a health intervention, we want to ensure that we practice cultural humility, support assets existing in the community, and are aware of non-clinical determinants of health. We can do this while performing a health needs assessment to understand and approach the community's needs. This assessment enables efficient use of resources and ensures that interventions are sustainable and relevant to the local population. To plan the assessment, you must first assemble a diverse team of community members and stakeholders. This will ensure that you have experts in your community's assets and insight into potential social and cultural barriers to your assessment and ultimate intervention. You might ask questions like, what is the community's traditional family structure? Are there social norms that impact healthy behaviors? Next, you will develop a team strategy and select your target community and community sectors. Are you looking at healthcare in a village, large city, population with a specific religious affiliation? This will be followed by identifying community components to assess and determining how and where you will find out about these issues. What are your community's health concerns? Which ones do they want to address first? Are you able to communicate with community members at their homes, schools, places of work or worship? Once you've performed your health assessment, you must review and rate the data and consolidate it. This will be done in partnership with the community leaders and team members so that the information is prioritized and understood by persons from the community. The ultimate development of a community action plan will rely on the identified community assets and needs, as well as the prioritization of actionable health concerns.
Now, we'll move to the assessment phase of designing a health intervention, which relates to using analytics to ensure that the health intervention is a good fit for the community and also to evaluate the overall performance. Major priorities as we consider health interventions include actionability and efficiency. Specifically, it is essential for the intervention to have rock-solid operations to reduce preventable deaths and improve quality of life. In regard to the operations, time is the biggest concern. We must decrease the intervention's lead time to ensure fastest improvement of health outcomes in the community. Furthermore, interventions are often implemented in large populations, which can make the intervention challenging to manage. There's also an operational component of communication between governments and communities due to bureaucracy. Ensuring that these processes in the intervention are efficient is fundamental to success. The less time it takes to implement the intervention, the more support that can be provided to the community at hand. Lastly, it is important for the intervention to become financially sustainable, where consistent reliance on external funding is not necessary. The intervention must make the community self-reliant at some point. Increasing operational efficiency will reduce costs and increase chances of making the intervention sustainable. After the intervention is implemented, it is important to constantly evaluate its effectiveness. First off, the metrics need to be based on the context of the community and the goal or outcome that is defined for the intervention. Does the population care about lives lost? Does the population care about the workforce? What are the key priorities of the population? There are strong metrics and weak metrics. A strong metric is an effective measure of the performance of the intervention, while a weak metric is ineffective at measuring the performance of the intervention. It's important to keep in mind that there is always a story behind the data, and often we find that weak metrics don't consider or look at the whole picture. there are false assumptions being made which result in the metric not representing the performance accurately.
Now we'll describe how one might approach creating and evaluating health assessment and intervention. We'll model parts of our description on previous initiatives. South Africa has a very high prevalence of HIV, a virus that attacks the body's immune system and decreases a person's ability to fight off disease and infection, which can also develop into AIDS. It is contracted through sexual activity, drug use, or mother-to-child transmission during pregnancy. We'll start with the assumption that members of the community have expressed concerns about a reduction in quality of life and increase in life loss due to HIV/AIDS. We will need to develop a plan to involve diverse community members, such as village and municipal leadership, as well as individuals from various religious and indigenous communities. It will likely take several months to develop a trusted relationship with the local communities. We will decide to target young adults since they are likely to participate in sexual activity, become pregnant, and be a part of the workforce. We must identify leaders amongst this population who can work as liaisons throughout the health needs assessment and as advocates during the intervention. Through this, we hope to gain an understanding of sexual practices, social dynamics, and Western medicine, as well as be responsive to taboos, such as the use of condoms in monogamous relationships or the stigma around an HIV-positive diagnosis. We must also identify assets within the community, such as existing clinics or social networks that can act as a support during the intervention and encouragement participation. We must also see if there are other social factors, like economic status, educational attainment, or cultural beliefs that might act as barriers to outreach or to the intervention. These might include a lack of transportation to clinics or an inability to take off of work to participate in the assessment or intervention.
Relating to evaluating the performance of the intervention, I can share an example of a strong metric and a weak metric. A weak metric in this situation would be number of condoms distributed. This metric fails to consider how many condoms are actually being used, which is an important factor since there is a social taboo around condoms. Furthermore, this intervention is dependent on the individual, and therefore this metric does not evaluate performance effectively. On the other hand, a strong metric could be the number of ARVs or antiretrovirals distributed and the reduction in HIV or AIDS, since this intervention is dependent on the clinician and provider. It is easily measurable and has guaranteed results of decreasing prevalence of HIV/AIDS. Now, although this tutorial isn't comprehensive, we hope that it gives new perspective into the complexity of creating social good in collaboration with the community. Thank you so much.